101 Underground Riders, the official clothing company of the World Sidecarcross Championship. www.101riders.com. Partners of WSC are Zabel, 101 Underground Riders, Denicol Lubricants, fimsidecarcross.com and Motorsport TV.
Hello again, all friends and fans of Sidecarcross. The year of 2018 is in its final moments and most motorsport has closed its doors for the winter. And the same is true of our sport, the Sidecarcross World Championship. This series had a total of 12 Grand Prix, with the intrepid crews visiting 10 countries across Europe. Three of the rounds went to the Baltics, with 2 in Latvia and a third long established in Estonia. The bulk of the championship, though, took place in Western Europe, for example in the deep sand of Belgium, and sand was a challenge the crews faced 4 times. There were also traditional natural tracks like in Germany and Switzerland. The final round took place in France, which was incidentally the second visit to the land where motocross is almost a religion. And this was the 2018 calendar. It was good to see the Ukraine and Czech Republic hosting this spectacular sport. They were rounds 4 and 5. But it all kicked off in Holland, the home of modern Sidecarcross. GP1 took place in Os. Last year's runners-up began the year in style. It was the French-Latvian crew, Valentin Giraud and Elvis Muchenieks, who shone in Os. Giraud surprised everyone with his deep sand expertise, including 10 times world champion Daniel Willemsen, again teamed up with Robbie Bax. Etienne Bax, older sibling of Robbie and world champion last year, had a shocker. A big crash resulted in a broken collarbone for him and busted ribs for the passenger. On the other hand, the young Dutchmen Julian Velman and Koen Hermans were really on it. But Giraud and Muchenieks were in a class of their own. And that is the result of the first of 24 races this year. There are 2 races each Grand Prix, worth 25 points for each win, so 50 points up for grabs every race weekend. A double win will get you the 50 points, and the Giraud Muchenieks crew came close in Os with a cracking start in the second race. But it all fell apart for them as they broke down when it really mattered. Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset took over the reins. Another team enjoying a great weekend were the Belgian-Dutch pairing of Marvin van Luken and Ben van den Bogart. Hermans and Mousset took their first win together. But runner-up spot was enough to give overall victory of GP1 in Os to Daniel Willemsen and Robbie Bax. And here are 6 more who impressed in race 2.
And we had to perfect start from second line. I think we was in sixth position when we go the hill up, and yeah, second place, third place. Really happy. Total, we win the GP with the red plate, and so I'm looking forward for Castelnau de Levis in 2 weeks.
So Willemsen topped the table just ahead of Koen Hermans, with Marvin van Leeuwen sending a strong signal in third. And 6 more with just 2 races gone. This was certainly not the way Etienne Bax had planned to start the defence of his title. But amazingly, Bax and Stupilis were on the line for the second Grand Prix at Castelnau de Levis in France. Jerome and Jenny X were on fire from the word go this year, and spurred on by a home crowd, they gave it their best shot from the off. On the Husqvarna WHT outfit, they were in their element. Bax and Stupilis were both in agony with their injuries, but they pressed on regardless. Hermans and his world champion passenger Mousset were again at the sharp end. Jerome and Jenny X knew each other well, and it showed in their immediate speed. Another new team, Marvin van Leeuwen and Ben van den Bergard, were also on the pace. But it was Jerome and Jenny X who came out on top of the opening race in France. Van Leeuwen and van den Bergard followed them home, with Varrick and Didas surprising everyone. And here are 12 more hard men. Here is the start of race 2 at Castelnau, with Giro and Etienne X again in control. Etienne Bax and Casper Stupilis were mightily impressive in France, carrying their injuries. They made it to the podium behind Van Leeuwen and the sensational Giro. The flamboyant Frenchman strolled home looking a really class act. The result, 2 victories, 50 points, and a very strong message to the paddock. But with big points for second, Marvin van Leeuwen headed the table for the first time in his young career, with Bax and Stupilis third. Jerome and Jenny X were unchallenged in Castelnau, now having won 3 from 4. With his worst result this year was Koen Hermans in 7th, but it was Valentin Giraud who was smiling.
It was my goal this weekend to get that 50 points, and we did it yeah, actually with good feeling on the track. I can't say I pushed so hard to win the GP, and that's the most important when you can do the things easily. The track was good, many nice jumps, and yeah, I enjoyed the weekend.
Giraud's double win moved him second, with the young Belgian Van Leeuwen on top of the pile. With only 36 points from 4 races, world champion Bax found himself 9th. But it was sweet success on home ground for Giraud. But tragically, the good luck ran out. In warm-up for GP3 in Spain, Giro Moceniac had a bad crash, resulting in serious injury for the passenger.
Yesterday we had a good day, and today we wanted to find some new lines on the track, and what we saw it was the wave station. Everybody drove on the right side, and we wanted to do something on the left side. And there is a 3 times double jump, and the first one a little bit bigger than the other. And yeah, we spoke together yesterday on the track walk, and we say we want to try this morning. We make some laps, we say we can jump, and we try to jump. It was a little bit short, and that kicked us on the bike, and we crashed by the front. Actually, not a big crash, but Elvis take the bar of the passenger on the back, and yeah, it not felt so good on the ground the first moment.
Round 3 in Talavera de la Reina was not good for Bax and Stupilis either. They had engine trouble in the warm-up for race 1. 2 old warhorses showed the way, Christoph Santemans and Stuart Brown. But Brown and Millard succumbed to Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset. After a very bad day in France, Koen Hermans was making up for lost time. And to the delight of their fans, Hermans and Mousset took the Spanish win in race 1. Van Luken and Van den Bogart snatched second, with Brown and Millard third. Julian Veldman made the top 10 with new passenger Roy Bianoff. Good effort. Race 2 had Daniel Willemsen and Robbie Bax from Van Luken and Van den Bogart with Gert van Vermen and Jens Maas, but Van Vermen was fighting all the way. That challenge faded, and Van Luken not only trumped Van Vermen, but also Willemsen. A win now was looking very realistic. Bax and Stupilis were desperate to put things right, and they fought hard with Brown and Millard before moving second. Brown is an established star at this game, and it showed again. It was, though, a done deal for the young Belgian Marvin van Luken with a premier victory. In addition, the number 9 crew confirmed their place at the top of the table after the first quarter of the season. Just 22 points for second in race 2 for Etienne Bax did not make him a happy bunny. Fourth place in race 2 was enough to give Hermans and Mousset second overall in Spain. After a cracking start, it was 9th for Gert van Vermen and Jens Maas. You never forget your debut victory. Marvin van Luken was no exception.
I can't believe that this is our first victory overall. But yeah, we do our best, and it was a good start, a good race, and yeah, finally. I go too fast in the corner, and a little mistake, but no crash, and I was happy about the race. Just maybe one mistake, but the rest was very good.
Van Luken and Van den Bogart not only stayed on top of the table, but extended the lead over Hermans to 13 points. Giro dropped out of contention with Etienne Bax 9th. How the mighty were fallen. We were in the Ukraine for round 4 in Chernivtsi, where huge crowds are invited every year. The opening race looked good for world champion Etienne Bax as he made his best start of the season, but Koen Hermans, Stuart Brown and Van Luken were also very much in the hunt. Before this weekend, Bax had said that this had to be his turning point and nothing less than victory would work. But Herman Zumusse in second were certainly going to make Bax and Stupilis work for it. But try as they might, there was no answer for Etienne Bax in this mood, and it was victory number 1 for the defending champion. Koen Hermans took second, with Marvin van Luken a third. Valentin Giraud introduced a new passenger, and he and Johnny Bader recorded a solid 7th place together. Good effort too. And Etienne Bax was once again in the wars at the start of race 2 in a very nasty accident. He was trapped underneath the outfit with a dislocated shoulder and in great pain was shipped off to hospital. Here in slow motion you can see Bax rubbing shoulders with Julian Veldman's passenger Glenn Janssens, and it was game over. There was a restart of which Daniel Williamson, last year's winner, took full advantage. He was chased by Stuart Brown and Joe Millard with 3 youngsters, Veldman, Van Lukenen and Hermans, all fighting over third. Brown finally made it through to lead, and just like in Spain, Marvin van Luken and Ben van den Bogart got the better of Willemsen. Despite Daniel Willemsen's fight back, the dirty deed was done. With Hermans now ahead of Willemsen, he and Mousset were looking at a possible debut victory overall. But that did not take into account Marvin van Lukenen's point of view, and he certainly had something to say on the subject. "25 points gave Van Luken and Van den Bogart overall victory, the 2nd in a row. A fine runner-up spot went to the Britons, Brown and Millard. And 3rd place to the Dutch-French duo of Hermans and Mousset. And 6 more ranked in the finishing order of race 2. So, what did all this mean to the winner?
Second race was very nice. We take a start on 4, I think, and we can pass some good teams, and the feeling was very good, and I'm very happy with Ben. Thanks a lot to him. A good winter. Show it now on the races.
After 4 GPs, the lead in the table for Van Luken and Van den Bogart was now 16 points. "25 points and a big crash put Bax and Stupilis 8th in the standings. And it was looking like the title at this stage of the season sat firmly with Van Luken and Van den Bogart. It was the middle of Europe for round 5 in the Czech Republic, to be precise. The fast track in Kremlin with its changing elevation was a real test for everyone. More than 50 crews fought it out in qualifying for the 30 places on offer in the main races. Van Luken and Van den Bogart started as they meant to go on. Veldman and Janssens were in second with Giro and Bader third, but it was hats off to Bax and Stupilis for a brave fight. Bax struggled to second place in race one, but it was certainly very hard. Marvin van Leeuwen could do no wrong and did what he had to do. So it was 3 wins in a row for the young Belgian. And 6 more crews who did the business in Kremlin. It was a repeat dose from Van Leeuwen in race 2 with another brave effort by Bax in second, with Kurt Varrick and Loris Dieders third. Valentin Giraud and Johnny Bader did well considering this was all new to Bader. New tracks, long races and a fast driver would make anyone huff and puff. It was a fantastic scrap for the lead between Bax and Van Leeuwen, with Bax throwing everything at it, but the young Belgian held his nerve and the lead. It was another first with 50 points, an overall victory for Van Leeuwen and Van den Bogart, but full respect for Bax and Stupilis. This was just 1 week since a dislocated shoulder, so just imagine the pain. Home favourites for this event, Thomas and Andre Chermak, disappointed, and they were outside the top 10. Marvin van Leeuwen, on the other hand, was in 7th heaven.
Perfect weekend we had over the whole weekend. Every time the first place. It's crazy. Feeling so good. Big thanks to our team. She worked a lot. Also to Ben, everyone. Thank you so much.
And it was not a good Czech Grand Prix for the Britons, Brown and Millard, who dropped 7th. There were more than 5,000 fans here and a great party atmosphere. The first half of the season closed in Latvia on the Cesis track, new to many of the crews. Brown and Millard made the first start, whilst Julian Veldman was stuck at the gate. Valentin Giraud was sidelined from the front when his engine died, giving Van Leeuwen inspiration. The young Belgian then fought hard with Etienne Bax and had to give second best. Safe in the knowledge he need not take chances, it was no big deal for Van Leeuwen. But that was not the case for Bax and Stupilis, who needed every single point they could find. Bax took race 1 in Latvia from Van Leeuwen and Koen Hermans. A best result so far this season went to the Chermak brothers, Thomas and Andre, with 4. The best Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax could do was 11th. Brown and Millard made good running in race 2, with Van Leeuwen fighting hard. But nothing lasts forever, and soon the red plate was in front. Bax and Stupilis had yet another shocker and were well out of the running early on. They had a race-long challenge to make up places, which they eventually did, but it was exhausting work. They made it through to tie on points behind Van Lukenen, but he got the overall verdict on his Race 2 victory. So that's 4 Grand Prix wins in a row for Van Lukenen and Van den Boogaard. Third in Race 2 in Latvia were Hermans and Museeuw, with Brown and Millard holding 4th. And 6 more for you to peruse. The red plate holders continue to confound and astonish.
We took a good start. We could take Brown in the first lap or in the second lap, and then we could make a gap and control the race. So that's actually the perfect race we drove, and it's the 4th GP win in a row. I never had that before, and I hope to keep this flow.
After the first half of the season, Van Lukenen and Van den Boogaard reigned supreme. Valentin Giraud was really missing Muchenieks, and he fell to 7th. And there's much more to come, and as we all know, anything could still happen. The second half of the season kicked off in faraway Estonia. They have an annual motocross festival in Kiviõli, and we were the centrepiece. Last year, Valentin Giraud with Elvis Muchenieks was dominant here, and again this year he started well. Second was Koen Hermans, and third, Daniel Willemsen. After another good start, Marvin Van Lukenen moved second ahead of Daniel Willemsen. Even better were Hermans and Museeuw, who had their sights on the win, and they made good the promise. Van Lukenen and Van den Boogaard was second, with a close fight between Willemsen and Etienne Bax. Willemsen had the edge on the track, but lost out when he failed noise control, so Bax and Stupilis claimed third. And here, race 1 result is confirmed. Seventh was a strong result for the Finnish Kunas brothers, Riku and Larry. And inspired by success, the Finns led the start of race 2 on Sunday, with Van Lukenen in hot pursuit at turn 1 and Julian Veldman also pushing. Hermans and Museeuw could not manage the double, but they were second this time around. Marvin Van Lukenen and Ben Van den Boogaard got the win, and they were on target for 5 victories in a row. And that helped them extend their points lead even further. Koen Hermans was second in both the race and the Estonian Grand Prix, whilst Bax and Stupilis were twice third. And so the rest of the top 12. "2018 was the year of King Marvin. Of that there was no doubt.
I was never thinking when we start the first race, it was so bad start, but second race we had the whole shot and then we can hold the race leading, and it was again a perfect weekend. Lommel is not, it's normally not for Belgium teams. It's very heavy sand. I think normally the Dutch teams are a little bit better there, but we will fight and we will see next week.
After GP number 7, Van Lukenen had almost 40 points over Koen Hermans, with Etienne Bax still further behind. But the gap between the chasing bunch was really quite tight. For round 8, we were in Belgium on the famously fine sand of the Lommel track. Daniel Willemsen and Robbie Bax, overall winners last year, were again on form here and they look really good. But the Estonian-Latvian crew of Varric and Didas were also doing well, as were Bax and Stupilis in fairness. As they moved second, Willemsen's engine died and he lost it. So the race had new leaders, Bax and Stupilis, and not before time, I have to say. Up to third in the deep sand went Stuart Brown and Joe Millard, with Kurt Varric getting his best career result with second. For Etienne Bax, this is virtually a home race, so the Dutch fans loved every single minute. And here are 6 more sand heroes from race 1. As before, it was number 111, Willemsen and Bax, who scored from the start of race 2. Conversely, Veldman and Janssens got tangled up and they were not alone. Varric eventually succumbed to Bax, so it was second for the Dutch racer. Race 2 was dominated by Daniel Willemsen, but a race 1 DNF kept him out of the overall result. So race 2 in Belgium looked like this, with Etienne Bax taking his first overall victory this year. Amazing. Mike Kuijben and Lars de Laat made it into the top 10. Although Dutchman, Lommel is home ground for Bax and he just won. So was he happy?
Yeah, finally, you know, this is a big relief. Yeah, you know, it's been a big guess here. You know, every team can win here, so it means nothing. Not really something, but for us it's really special. You know, we're waiting for this moment.
Although this broke Van Lukenen's winning streak, he still carried the red plate as leader. Poor Valentin Giraud and Johnny Bader dropped to 9th. And from soft Belgian sand, the team's headed for hard German soil. The 9th Grand Prix was held in Strasbessenbach on one of the last natural hillside motocross tracks. On this track, the start is absolutely everything, and Daniel Willemsen, Robbie Bax, and Julian Veldman, Glenn Janssens both got it right in race 1. But the fight all the way down the field was really tough. None of this bothered Willemsen, who showed great versatility taking the win. The Dutch multi-champion was unstoppable, followed home by Julian Veldman, with Valentin Giro, more at home in these conditions, third. Next in order came Van Lukene, Bax and Koen Hermans, all very much still in the hunt. And here are the next 6 crews to follow them home. Willemsen and Bax were away again in race 2, with Veldman matching their speed up the big hill, but it was a close thing. Everyone knows this as a very hard track to pass, and it was absolutely true again this year. But hats off to the young Dutchmen, Veldman and Janssens, with a fine second place. Double victory and 50 points, that was more like it, and the Daniel Willemsen we know and love was back. It was second place twice for Veldman and Janssens, with Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis on the podium with third in race 2. The red plate holders, Van Lukene and Van den Bogart, for the second time in a row, were out of the top 3. Victorious Daniel Willemsen absolutely shone with delight.
I loved it. Yeah, I cannot express how happy I am with this 2 heats victory. Last half year in GPs we were under big pressure. Injuries, this makes yourself also stronger for the next races, what's coming. I'm happy we can still do it.
The German Grand Prix changed nothing at the top of the table, but Daniel Willemsen moved 4th. But it was a bad day at the office for Stuart Brown and Joe Millard, dropping to 7th. And just days later, the whole WSC circus headed for Eastern Europe. It was remote Stelpa in Latvia for GP number 10. There was something of a heat wave as race 1 got away, with Valentin Giro leading the charge, followed by Hermans and Musset. Koen Hermans soon went to the front, getting the better of Giro. In third came Bax and Stupelis from Van Lukene and Van den Bogart. These 2 crews also overcame the Frenchman. Van Lukene knew he did not have to win. At this stage of the season, he was riding to keep good points coming, and he did just that. It was Koen Hermans who was looking for glory in a debut overall victory, and he saw Stelpa as the platform. He and Nicolas Musset took the race 1 win in style. Bax and Stupelis scored second, with Van Lukene safe in third. And here are 6 more who scored well in Latvia race 1. Race 2 start, and Hermans Musset really meant business with an absolute cracker. And the Dutch-French pair did not look back, whilst Marvin Van Lukene pounced on a struggling Valentin Giro. And that move was swiftly followed by Etienne Bax doing the same. This gave him a podium place, but Van Lukenen was still a problem for Bax. But no one in Latvia had an answer for Herman Zumuse. They were about to write new personal history. Koen Hermans was supreme in victory. Double wins and maximum points. Well done, son. Britain's Brett Wilkinson and Dan Chamberlain pushed once more into the top 5. A good weekend for them. And here are more superstars from race 2. And what an achievement for young Koen Hermans.
Yeah, really good, of course. One time we were close with the GP win. We didn't make it, and now this track was really good for us. We have good lines. The feeling was really good on the bike. Everything was how it must be. So yeah, if the feeling is good, then it's good to ride. And the starts were really good. So yeah, 2 times the first place. Yeah, it's really amazing.
Koen Hermans had closed the gap on Van Lukenen, but only by a few points. But he did need to keep Etienne Bax at bay. Veldman and Janssens improved after Stelper, but it certainly was hard work. The penultimate GP of the year was in Switzerland near Basel. The Roggenburg track is another typical and traditional hillside circuit. And it was about to welcome the new 2018 World Champions. Marvin Van Lukenen and Ben van den Bogart started well in race 1 ahead of Arne Dierkens and Valentin Giraud. Sadly, it was to be another crash for Etienne Bax and Kasper Stupelis. This was definitely not their year. It was all good stuff at the front. Giraud had promised his passenger Johnny Bader he'd be on the podium this year, and he was about to deliver that promise. Van Lukenen gave in to the French threat and also surrendered to a flying Julian Veldman. And that was how they finished. The French crew were thrilled. It was a first ever GP win for Johnny Bader. A strong second for Veldman with a calculated third place for the red plate of Van Lukenen, the champion designate. Tenth was not a good result for Koen Hermans and Nicolas Musset. Race 2 and Arne Dierkens played a blinder. He and Luc Rostang led from Van Lukenen with Giraud again strong in third. Marvin Van Lukenen assumed control, but Giraud stalled the engine and was obliged to play catch-up for several laps once he got going again. But inspired by their race 1 win, they battled on regardless. Bax and Stupelis found Arne Dierkens was an even tougher nut to crack. Eventually they got passed into second place, but it was short-lived and their misery continued with another mechanical breakdown. But the story of the race was a first world title for Marvin Van Lukenen as he took the win in race 2. What a way to win a title. Overall victory in the round that counted. Van Lukenen and Van den Boogaard were living the dream. A newly formed crew with a challenging year ahead of them. Absolutely no one expected them to perform like this, not even Marvin himself.
Before the season we were all happy with the top 3, I think, but now world champion, it's crazy, it's crazy.
Yes, it is the 4th time, but every time is still the most special day of your life, and especially when you can help Marvin to become his dream, then yeah, it's one of the most emotional days of my life.
Marvin Van Lukenen had made a promise that he'd win the title as a tribute to his late father, the man who brought him to this wonderful sport. He delivered that promise in 2018. The title was decided, but there was still one race to go in Vesoul in France. And there was plenty at stake, with top 10 places up for grabs. Engine problems presented themselves to Koen Hermans, and Arne Dierkens was also in trouble mechanically. Valentin Giraud on home soil was looking good, with new champion Van Lukenen riding well with no pressure. Job done for him, easy. Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax were having their final ride together, and they were really struggling on the hard track. But the opposite was true of Julian Veldman and Glenn Janssens, who took race 1 by storm. Valentin Giraud clinched second, with Van Lukenen smiling to himself in third. And here are 6 more for you to digest. They all fought hard. Hermans and Mousset flew ahead of the final race of the season, and that is where they stayed, never putting a foot wrong. No one else got a look in, and that is absolute fact. And that brilliant result secured silver medal place in the standings for them. At the same time, they finished on a high, sending a very strong message for next season. But for Marvin Van Lukenen and Ben Van den Boogaard, it was celebration time. And even more celebration for Julian Veldman and Glenn Janssens, who took their debut overall victory with runner-up spot in race 2. The 2018 season saw a new dawning with a new generation of Sidecarcross racers. And Veldman and Janssens' win said it all.
It's the first one, and I hope it's not the last one.
I believe you. What about you, Glenn? Your feelings, of course.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the victory, and I never thought this in the beginning of the season, so the best feeling ever.
And that's how the final ranking looks. The top 10 battle was really tight, as you can see, with Arne Dierkens just about hanging in. But we should all raise a glass to Marvin Van Lukenen and Ben Van den Boogaard, new champions. And this was his way to the dream title. And that's it from us. Thank you for joining in and sharing the action. We loved it. Hope you did too. From the WSC team, it's goodbye until next season when we do it all again. Bye for now. They know what this means. There it is. Double victory. Partners of WSC are Zabel, 101 Underground Riders, Denico Lubricants, fimsidecarcross.com and Motorsport TV. 101 Underground Riders, the official clothing company of the World Sidecarcross Championship. www.101riders.com